What is up, homies? Welcome to another trailer reaction from Heroes Reforged. We're reacting to the final trailer for The Flash. In anticipation for this movie, we are rewatching, or we revisited. Actually, Augustine never seen Batman and Batman Returns, so we watched it for the first time.
Never seen Batman 1989 and Batman Returns 1992. No. Dude, they were so fun watching them with Augustine, who has never seen them.
100%.
Great.
It's great. Yeah, you'll get all the context of everything when you go and watch the Patreon video. So go watch the videos because they're great.
And you know, if anybody in Warner Brothers watches our videos, you know, we have over 100,000 subscribers. Maybe you guys could invite us to a screening.
That would be cool.
So that way I don't have to email people and get kickbacks that your employees don't work for you anymore, David Zaslav. You guys ready to watch the trailer?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh,
yeah, I guess. Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go.
This is gonna be the first time Augustine has seen Michael Keaton Batman since watching the movies.
Yeah, that's true. Two, 3 weeks ago.
Crashing you into Mr. Wayne.
Oh.
I'm
here now, Barry. I mean, I guess it makes sense to have Jeremy Irons in the movie, right?
Sure, yeah, he's Alfred.
Yeah.
So you're saying you could travel back in time?
But Bruce, I can fix things. I can save people. I can save my mom. I can save your parents.
Nice sentiment, but
you can also destroy everything.
Love you, Mom. I love you too.
And Affleck got such a crap deal with these movies because he's great.
I know.
School was good.
Oh God.
This is mad trippy. Dude, this is catastrophic.
Pink Floyd, huh? Okay.
This world must die.
I'm not gonna lose her again.
Oh shit.
My name is Kara. I will help you.
There you go.
Interesting group. Want some help?
Want some help?
I guess I can help.
Wait, he's Batman?
Oh.
Get nuts.
Let's get nuts. Oh yes.
The music.
Oh, this rips!
Wow.
We're in uncharted territory.
Wow.
Batman, what do we do?
We try not to
Oh
die.
shit.
Are you ready?
Ready.
Let's go.
Little tornado move was great. Fancy friends.
No, it was an Uber. Oh, exec.
You know what I
Nice.
like about the look of this movie, as I do want to talk about the visual effects and the CG, because it looks like there's a ton of CG characters and environments and whole sequences and stuff. And it looks like, I want to mention how even from Man of Steel, I really appreciated the design aesthetic for Man of Steel, even how the CG looked, and especially how the characters move. They're sort of Dragon Ball Z style fighting.
Yeah.
Because to me, it was like, it wasn't them trying to be fully realistic. It was like a hyper realism. It was like this like stylized fake world. But I think that has evolved over the past few movies and has embraced more color. And thinking of movies like Aquaman and Shazam, the sort of brightness of how some of those like suits and things pop. And you get to this movie and there's a lot of CG in it, but I like it because even with characters where you don't need to do a ton of CG, like Ben Affleck Batman, he's basically flying around like this superhuman. The camera's following his motorcycle with these impossible shots, and I'm like, that's probably a fully CG Batman on a motorcycle. And I like it because kids are going to go see this movie, and I believe that kids can buy into that unreality more than adults. I know that our brains are going to tell us this is computer generated imagery, this is CGI. But I still like for them to be this ambitious and to have this much style and how the characters move. And it looks like they're really doing slow motion stuff. And I would prefer all of that than them trying to, first of all, copy any kind of stuff that Marvel Studios is doing. And frankly, Marvel Studios, and I love what they do, they're mostly, I feel like they're just trying to do like grounded versions of their not real characters, right? And the fact that Warner Brothers and DC's kind of, because of their success, had to be like, well, what's our style? What's going to set us apart? And now we've landed on this, like, it's not even wire work. It's just like, oh, we're just going to flat out replace a stunt performer or an actor with a CG character. And we're going to do these like long shots and tracking things. And I am very confident, like, the directing is really cool, but there are moments of this that feel like, man, this is probably going to be a fully animated sequence.
Yeah.
But it looks cool,
absolutely.
and it looks like it pops. And I care more about that and caring about the characters versus like, well, how real does this CG? And I'm like, a human running at this speed, a woman flying with a cape, none of that stuff is real. Like, the more you try to get a character like Hulk or Thanos to look real, the more you're going to kind of shoot yourself in the face. I feel like there's like this balance, and these CG artists that are working on movies these days, they're so brilliant. They know exactly what they're doing. I like how this has that pop.
Yeah, and it's the Chris Nolan effect, right? Because when Chris Nolan took over, or not took over, but when he made the Batman movies, it was very much existing in our reality, essentially. And with Batman, that's easier to do because he doesn't have any superpowers, so you can ground it a lot more. But it's cool to see the Ben Affleck Batman banking on his motorcycle, and the cape is just all in the air, and he's just like ripping through the floor, and because that's the Batman.
It's cool.
That is cool, and the one that I would expect to see in a shared universe where he's interacting with a character called the Flash, who can run faster than the speed of sound, and Supergirl, who can fly, and all this kind of crazy stuff. So the one thing that I think our adult brains will have to accept more so than what you're talking about is a character like Michael Keaton's Batman, who, because of the technology and time, existed in something that felt a lot more sort of like in a reality. Even though it's its own reality, it has its own rules, it still feels very realistic. But now, because of tech and time advancement, there's going to be a lot of Michael Keaton Batman flying around doing cool stuff. I'm sure
like,
10 minutes into the movie, I'll be like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Did
And
did you forget that those were Tim Burton movies? Nothing about those movies is realistic.
That's true.
About those movies is realistic.
It's so stylized.
I think what you guys are saying is stating your case that animation is the greatest form of filmmaking ever devised for anything, because especially for the superhero stuff, like none of it is realistic. Everything needs to be animated, and the fact that you can add action poses and exaggeration, anticipation, and all these crazy, like, basic animation techniques to make things like real people look like they're superheroes is what you have to do. You have to exaggerate realism, right? And that's what we're seeing here, because it doesn't work otherwise. Like, otherwise, we're getting a Nolan verse. Otherwise, we're getting slow punches. We're getting people running at normal speeds, which is the opposite of what Flash does. Like, that none of that makes sense without that exaggeration in the superhero world. I think you're right, Hector. What got me to like Man of Steel a lot was that Dragon Ball Z style quick fight. Like, the action felt fast, and that's what I first loved about the Flash when we saw him at the very beginning of this whole DC reboot thing, because the motion of his quickness felt super quick. And as we know in the DC universe, the Speed Force is one of the all-encompassing forces in the DC universe. So it has to work. It has to be fast, and you have to be able to access it with very superhero abilities. And so I think all of this works visually. And I think that from all reports that this movie is a clear knockout. It seems like everybody's enjoying it from what they're seeing. We'll see if we can get some early access. Whoever's got,
especially after watching Batman and Batman Returns with you guys. I feel like the three of us are like, I mean, we were in it for Keaton regardless, but now we're like, I think we're all in on. We cannot wait to see Michael Keaton play this character again.
Yeah, totally,
and
absolutely.
I just saw, because of the Fast and Furious movies that have been the new one that came out, the great podcast, How Did This Get Made? They did a live episode, I don't know when, and they had Seth Rogen on, and Seth Rogen was talking about something that the director of the first Fast and Furious said to him somewhere, where he said, I think it was Rob Cohen, who said, like, look, there's logic and then there's cool in filmmaking, in movie making.
They don't go along.
And cool always wins out. Yeah, and I think that is a great philosophy in certain genres and in certain stories. And I feel like in superheroes, you got to go cool over logic sometimes.
Yeah.
And I mean, you were talking about sometimes, and you were in most of the time, and you were talking about like the how great animation can work when it's used well. Even the shot where like Barry Allen gets plopped out of a plane, and you know that the actor just probably fell a few feet, landed on a mat, but his character is like, Barry's character is like, whoa, falling through the sky, and is moving in a way where it's like, that really is what a person would look like, falling through the sky without having a parachute rip right away. Like that's animation. Ben Affleck Batman jumping up on a car, jumping up, firing a thing, cape flared out. Batman in this film is doing stuff that like Tom Holland's Spider-Man is doing in his movies because Spider-Man has spider powers.
Right.
And I don't give a shit. Let Batman do cool stuff like that. Is always gonna win out over, oh, but I really want to see him like train because I didn't see him train to do that move. I don't care. It's Batman.
Exactly.
You know, like
exactly.
Like, yeah.
Eventually, very curious to find out more about the making of this movie, but because this movie is doing a lot of things for the future of the DC universe, you know, this trailer in particular, the tagline reads, "The future begins now." And this is kind of going to be the start of or the beginning parts of getting into the new DC universe.
Yeah.
But I'm so curious to see how much of the movie actually does that. I'm also curious to see sort of what the narrative is going to be after this movie comes out. You know, we saw Blue Beetle and Aquaman 2 coming out. Are they set in the new DC universe? Are they still a part of this old one, but they take place before? But I think
because Affleck might be in Aquaman 2, so are they going to say like Aquaman:
so
The Lost Kingdom takes place before?
Like, what's going on there?
And the question of, you know, we've talked about this before, but like, what is the behind the scenes of this movie? There's a lot of stuff that people have a lot of questions about and the decisions that Warner Brothers are making, but it took so many years to make. But it's also this thing of like, well, when did James Gunn get hired to do what he's doing? And how did that hiring and that decision impact this? Like, we've heard rumors that Henry Cavill was supposed to be in this. We've heard rumors that Gal Gadot was supposed to be in this. Did they remove them, but maybe not Ben Affleck because Ben Affleck is so integral to the story, it seems like. But did they remove those other two characters because they're like, look, we may or may not recast those characters in the new reality? Like you're saying, Adam, how much of this movie worked that James Gunn saw and then is praising how much he loves the movie, and then how much of this finished product is going to be, well, then they tweaked this and this and this to fit this new DC universe. Right. What's the narrative going to be? All really interesting questions, and I'm excited to ask and figure out and talk about once this movie comes out. But yeah, man, it's like, they still got Aquaman and Blue Beetle. And I'm hoping that those are both great movies. I'm hoping this is great. It looks great. But I'm hoping that Aquaman and Blue Beetle are great enough for them, for everyone, audiences and the filmmakers and the studio to be like, yep, they're in the new DC universe. Because that did not happen with Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I had a good time with Shazam. Y'all went to go see it. You guys were like, oof, it was a dog. I was like, okay, it wasn't great. And then the studio has not said like, yep, we're definitely going to keep Shazam in the, you know what I mean? Like, it feels like it's the last one that squeaked by before they're like, and we're done with that, which is a bummer because I want all these movies to be great and for all of them to, you know, continue to find success. But we shall see.
We'll see. Making movies like Shazam 2. But we should also tell people that we'll be reviewing this movie on our Chexicans podcast. That's where all our reviews are now. I feel like not enough people know that that's where all our reviews now. We have our Guardians review up. We have a couple of other reviews up on that channel. So
it's a different YouTube channel.
It's a different Chexicans
We'll put a link in the description. We'll put a link in the description. You got to subscribe.
Links in the description.
Absolutely. Again, excited to see this movie. Excited to see sort of like what's going to be the next sort of thing that comes out from after this, what the news will be. Comic-Con is happening a month after this movie comes out, so I'm expecting a lot of clarity, a lot of announcements, a lot of discussion about the future of DC, and I'm excited. We're excited, and if you work at Warner Brothers, send us a DM. Jesus.
And last thing real quick, if you work at Warner Brothers or the newly christened Max, you should definitely hire Adam Lavick to figure out your DC layout because that thing is a mess.
Oh my God.
You hear me? You're
messy.
trying to get people into this brand. Make it accessible. Hire my man Adam.
That's another conversation for the Chexicans podcast right there.
It really is.
But let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What are your theories for the future of DC, for this film, everything in between? Subscribe. Check out the Chexicans podcast down below. Check out the uncut reactions for Batman and Batman Returns on our Patreon, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye.